Hi Superstar Artists! Today I'm going to show you how to graph the shapes that you used on your shape pizza. As you can see at the top, you're going to write your name and your art code. So I'll start with that in pencil. I'm going to write Mrs. Bussin. And the art code, your art code could either be KM if you're in maroon group, KW if you're in white group, or KG if you are in gold group. So pick which one you are in and write that code. Now at the top of the paper it says how many of each shape did you use on your pizza? ¿Cuántas de cada forma usaste en tu pizza? So we're going to count how many of each shape we used and we're going to fill it in. This is called a graph. It's going to show us how many shapes we used and what colors we used. So today I have picked out all of the colors of crayons that I have used on my pizza. I used orange, I used pink, I used purple, and I used green. So I've got all my colors ready to go. Let's start at the beginning. I'm looking at the square column. Right here, it shows me how many squares going from number 1 all the way up to number 10. So I start at the bottom and fill out how many squares I used. I did use some squares on my pizza, and I know that they're purple. So I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3 squares on my pizza, and I used purple. So I'm gonna go to the bottom of my graph, and I'm gonna count and color. 1 square, then I'm going to go up to 2 and I'm going to fill in 2 squares because I used 2. And then I'm going to go to the next one, which is 3, and I'm going to color that in. So that's 3 squares. I used 3 purple squares on my pizza. I don't go up to 4 because I did not use 4. The next shape is a circle. I did use circles on my pizza. I used 1, 2 pink circles. So I'm going to take my pink crayon and I'm going to color in 1 because there's at least 1 there. And then I'm going to go up to 2 because I had 2 pink circles on my pizza. I won't go to number 3 because I only used 2. The next one is a rectangle. I did use rectangles on my pizza. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 orange rectangles. So I'm going to get my orange crayon and I'm going to fill in 8 orange rectangles. Here's 1. That filled in. I'm going to go up to 2. Color that in. I'm going to go up to 3. Fill that in. I'm going to go to 4. That's nice and colored in. And I'll go up to 5. Then up to 6. Then to 7. And last but not least, 8. So I'm going to go up here to 8. I used 8 orange rectangles on my pizza. Okay. Next is diamond or rhombus. I didn't use any on my pizza, so I'm not going to fill any of those out. I'm going to skip right over it to the end. This is triangles. I did use triangles on my pizza. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green triangles. So I'm going to fill in my triangles all the way up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have 6 green triangles. There we go. That is a graph showing how many shapes in each color that I used. Now, if I'm going to talk about my graph, I can look at it and let's see. Which shape did I use the most of? Do you know? If you picked the rectangle, you were correct. I used most of my shapes as rectangles. It's all the way up here at number 8. Now, which one did I use the least of? If you said circles, you're correct. I only used 2 circles. That is the least of any of the shapes. Now, I know that the last 2 shapes are in between these 2. So I used 3 squares and I used 6 triangles. I used less squares than I did triangles. I used more triangles than I used of squares. So there you have it. I now have a graph of all of my shapes and what color I used for my shapes. So now it's your turn to fill in your shapes and then talk to your friends about your pizza and your graph. Great job, superstars. I'll see you soon.